What up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mud, reading my All Quiet on the Martian front book. Decided to do an unbooking. And, dinner. Ribs. All-American meal. Barbecue ribs, french fries, and corn on the cob. What better meal to be eating while I'm unbooking the game that is all about the aliens invading America. So, Alessio Cavatore, some guy named Baker, and I'm assuming it's a guy, and Rick Priestley, they are the heads of the rules for this game. And as anyone knows, Alessio Cavatore and Rick Priestley are the miniature gaming's some of their finest rules writers. So here we've got an awesome picture, Memphis city limits of the Martians invading. The core concept, which I thought was awesome in reading more about the background, is that the Martians are invading America, and this is their second intergalactic invasion. The first one was against London, and they've come back. That was like 6 years before this takes place, sometime 1914, 1915, something like that. They attacked London in 1908. They got pretty far. They decimated most of the countryside over there across the pond, and then they all died out because, just like War of the Worlds, they couldn't handle our atmosphere. But now they're back, and the world wasn't ready for them. They thought after the First World War, intergalactic war, that they would be gone for good, and nope, they're back. So I really enjoyed reading here. This whole beginning is the fluff section. I love this map of America so that you can kind of, there's no army specific, region specific color schemes or anything like that. You just, in the box set, you just get American infantrymen. So if you want, you can read these awesome short battle explanations of all the troops that was lost, because the Martians are just so devastating. I think there are only two here at the end that you've had survivors and victories. I like how California is cut off from the rest of the American body of troops, and everything else. The Martians just come, they land, they attack, they decimate everybody, they hunker down, they build their underground bases, and they spread this red vegetation that goes and takes over everything and makes the environment, I guess, more palatable for Martians. So like I said, excellent fluff, awesome fluff. I love the style of the book. You can see it looks like coffee stained documents. The pictures look really, really great. The way they've posed the models looks really, really great. They use a lot of model railroad buildings, so if you are a collector of railroads or model railroads, or you know where to get them at your local store, then pick some up, get some 15mm things. They also have cars, street lamps. They recommend get those things to put on your table, and yeah, I think that's a great idea. Okay, so the fluff is great. Looking at the fluff, it's great. I love it. Looking at the models and the rules, I haven't really read too much of the rules. I'm getting into it now. I don't want to talk about the rules too much. This is just kind of like an overview of the book, but they're explained really simply. So just like how most games rule books have the rules in order of the phases, move phase, shoot phase, assault phase, etc. This does it also, and it does it just as well. I think they look really, really well. So you've got also some drawings of things that are teased or hinted at. Hopefully they want to do in the future, build these giant, monstrous land ships and giant alien tripods things. So keep your eye out for that. Yeah, the rules seem pretty fleshed out. This seems to be as a miniatures game, I think it's a good start for it. I think they're going to need more troop variety and stuff eventually. Maybe even they're talking about how they're going to be making new armies and stuff. But even, if they're talking about making new armies and stuff, basically the Martians have these tripods, and whether they're big giant tripods or smaller tripods, they seem to be pretty much the same, and they've got these slave troops, lobotomized zombie Americans, and that's the only thing that makes them different from the human side. Here we go, Martian slave troops. Really cool fluff. How the troops that they've captured have American infantry tattoos, or they're just they've been kidnapped and reprogrammed and repurposed to fight for the new alien masters. I think it's just so cool. So you've got great fluff interspersed throughout the rules here. Some people might like that, some people might not. I think it's totally fine. And then you get your breakdown of the armies. So there's no set points cost for for these games that I know of. Anyway, there might be, and maybe I just don't know. But at this point, it's just like they give you how much points each thing is, and then they say, okay, you and your opponent just decide how much points you want to play, and you can go at it. And I think that's pretty cool. It's fine. You've got these things I haven't seen yet, these command tanks, different kinds of tanks. So the American side has a lot of stuff. Patton, what? This is World War I. And the American side has so much stuff going for them. Medic trucks, and look at this giant thing that they're hoping to build. Giant land vehicles. Whew, crazy. Static defenses, and then you get your Martian side. Yeah, like I said, most of the Martian stuff is just walkers, tripods. This giant tripod. It's gonna be huge. If the regular tripod, 15mm guy, you got a regular tripod. This thing would be on the size of a, geez, like a giant Pepsi bottle or something. Oh, even bigger. I don't know. Crazy. Anyways, here we go. More look at the models and their rules. The only other army that they have models for at this point are the British Expeditionary Force, the BEF. Pretty similar to the Americans. They have some slightly different thing. This infantry, heavy infantry guy with a flamer there. And their tanks or their vehicles have this little rounded sphere thing on the top of them. Looks a little bit more in line with the World War I stuff. I think that's really cool looking. What is this? Mono tank. Interesting. So they're kind of like the Americans, but they're not. You don't just have a different flavor of infantry and different colored tanks and stuff. Here you've got 10 scenarios. I've been reading through them. They're very interesting, and they've all got good objectives, good ways of setting up and playing the game. Really interesting. I think this is what's going to make the game replayable instead of just, you know, secure objectives and stuff or wipe the other guy out. It's the scenarios seem to be really cool. Okay, last part I'm going to talk about. You've got a hobby / paint guide in the back. Not really much of a paint guide because they mention using testers spray paints to spray the model after you build it. They mention a little bit how to paint the eye, but they don't give you specific colors because they're not affiliated with a paint range. And so they're not going to say use these Citadel colors or these Reaper colors or Vallejo colors. They just kind of tell you what colors they use. So they talk about using a bright red and then a black in the center and then 2 coats of gloss varnish. And here's how they do their tanks. I'll be coming up with a tank tutorial soon. And an interesting thing I thought was nice of them to include was varieties of paint schemes depending on which, you know, where you want your guys to be from. I think the variety of paint schemes, color schemes for your tanks is the thing that's going to give the collection, the hobby side of it, the replayability. Like this one up here is for Canada. And imagine if you had a whole force of those, because most of the artwork you see has this standard, you know, olive drab green kind of color to their tanks. Here you've got the Labatotons. What are they called? Labatoton? Yeah, Labatotons. I bought some packs of these, so I'll do a review on them. Interesting. I haven't seen these guys yet, but interesting. Some smaller tripod walker drone guys, and here's the, maybe one day, cross your fingers, wish on a shooting star, and hopefully one day soon we can get these guys out if we get enough funding. But holy moly, that thing would take up like the whole table. My uncle used to collect giant battleships and stuff, and I have 1 or 2 of them in my room. And boy, that kind of looks like what they would be, like giant land ships. Okay, yeah, here's the real Memphis, 1910, and our Memphis in 1910. Oh, okay. I thought, for some reason, I thought it was like 1914, 15, but 1910. So you can see they used, they took these old shots and they tried to get the comparable modeling supply, modeling terrain and scenery and stuff. Here's a little vignette that I thought was pretty cool. I haven't found a way to build these yet, the tanks with the doors open. I would love to, because there's actually an interior designed that you could paint that might look pretty cool, but haven't been able to find out how to do it because in the box set, the doors are flat. So, love to be able to do it. This looks really cool, and yeah. Alternate history kind of stuff like this really interests me. Don't leave him stranded. For liberty's sake, enlist today. Love all this war propaganda kind of stuff. And here you've got your index in the back. Oh, and then we leave off with some hints of things to come. Venusians. I guess Venus is gonna join up in the fight. Underdwellers, Selenites, and the more Earth forces. So this looks like France and Germany, or the German-Prussian Empire, whatever it is. Great book. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I would say if you can, if you're gonna buy the box of this, the box game, which I unboxed a couple videos back, I would say the rule book, the hardcover, is a worthy investment to kind of enrich your playing experience. If you've bought the box set and you found you're not really into the models or into the game rules as much, and you want something that has more of a more options and can be brought up to bigger scales, then this might not be the thing to go with right now until they release more stuff, but they definitely have the potential to make this a huge model range. And I love it, and I respect them for it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Gonna go back to these All-American ribs, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Latest, players!